All right, y'all. Um, Saints lose 26-8. The New Orleans Saints lose 26-8. Um, I don't think many of us thought they were going to go win this game. Um, but the here's the single most disappointing part. um, you know, I um I completely understand the offensive issues um, of the last 3 weeks. When you're losing Derek Carr, 3 offensive linemen, Taysom Hill, Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave was out last week. Like, there's no team in the NFL, no team in the NFL that can lose that much talent, that many starters, and um, and not feel it, right? It doesn't matter if it's Kansas City or San Francisco or Baltimore. It doesn't matter. Like, take 7 starters off of any offense, including the starting quarterback, and you're going to look terrible. So I get that. What happened? What happened against Tampa? What happened against Denver? Like, I get it. I wasn't mad. Like, the thing I was mad about was the defense over the last 3 games, really since Kansas City. Um, you, you give up 51 to Tampa. I don't care what Demario Davis or any of them said. They quit. They quit at the end of that game. They quit against Denver. The missed tackles are the telling statistic. It tells you everything. The defense quit, and that was discouraging because you weren't Pete Werner away from being awesome. You know what I mean? Like, you don't lose Pete Werner and your defense is giving up 51 points, like historically, but multiple 200-yard rushing games back to back. So, like, that's been my issue up until this point, was the defense. The defense, which is Dennis Allen's calling card, being the worst defense in the NFL. The offense I could understand with all the guys you're missing. Here's my problem today. Your defense played better. I mean, not good. Look, I mean, you get out there getting mossed by Lad McConkey. I mean, Alante Taylor's falling down and come on. Anyway, even still, like, your defense gave you a chance in this ball game. You lost 26-8, but your defense, they scored 10 in the fourth quarter. But I mean, this was a 9-5 ball game at half. You know, they put up the Lad McConkey 60-yarder in the third quarter. I mean, this was a ball game. You got it within 16-8. I mean, you were at least in it going into the fourth quarter in a 1-score game. Your defense gave you a shot. The real problem I have now is you don't have the excuse anymore about your offense missing all the starters. Now, I want to be very clear about this, and I will go pull up the video because I just had to go after some knucklehead on Twitter who said, "Oh, but Matt said Rattler's awesome." No, jackass. I'll literally play the clip for you that if this tweet ever sends, that you'll see on Twitter that I sent to him, which is the day they announced that Derek Carr was out. I said on After Further Review, plain as day, you are not a better football team this year without Derek Carr. You are not a better football team this year without your 11-year veteran quarterback and going with Hayner Rattler. You're not. So I still don't expect them to be awesome. But the fact that you couldn't even function offensively in this ballgame is embarrassing. I mean, absolutely unacceptable. Because if you were going to try to convince me that the offense was stagnant because you missed all, and look, I'm with it. Like I had no expectation for Rattler the last 2 weeks. He was in an impossible situation. I mean, he was playing with a preseason offense against Sunday defenses. That was never going to go well. But now you get all those guys back. You get Ruiz back. You get Lucas Patrick. Taysom Hill's out there. Chris Olave's out there. Like, you got no Rashid Shaheed, but you got an NFL offense out there. And you mean to tell me that the New Orleans Saints go out there in this ball game and can't get out of their own way? They put up 2 field goals and a friggin' safety. Your defense gives you a safety and you put up 2 friggin' field goals. That's all you can do offensively. That's embarrassing. I know the Chargers are the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. Talked about it all week. This wasn't going to be easy. And I didn't expect New Orleans to win this game. But at this point now, whatever we all thought said also about Kubiak in the first 2 weeks, this Wunderkind, and that he was this great offensive, Shanahan, McVay, give me a break. I mean, you can't even go out there and be competent offensively with all of your starters. I get it. You got to have a quarterback. I get it. But you can't run your wide zone with any success. I'll give you one bright spot in this game. I'm trying really hard not to curse. Erica and Drew just left to go to the park, so I'm home alone, so I guess I can curse. I'll give you one positive. Kendre Miller looks like he has a fucking pulse. That was positive. He actually ran the ball today. One of them got called back because of a penalty. It was a holding on Lucas Patrick. But Kendre Miller actually looked like he showed flashes of somebody we thought he might be able to be. 3 carries for 16 yards. I'm not telling y'all go throw a fucking ticker tape parade like he's the man or anything. But that, and then he had the one return as well. The kick return for 41 yards. So there's one positive for you. Everything else, y'all, the New Orleans Saints just lost their 6th consecutive game for the first time since 2005. The Katrina season. Literally the entire Peyton Breeze era, we have now come full circle back to what it was before Peyton and Breeze. You have now lost 6 consecutive games for the first time since 2005. And when you start to look at, by the way, when you start to look at the type of futility that this team is staring at now, the last time they lost 7 was 1999 under Mike Ditka. They also lost 7 in 1996. That's when they fired Mora midseason, and Rick Venturi was the interim. And they also lost 7 in their debut season in 1967. They lost 8 consecutive in 71-72, 9 consecutive 75-76, and then, of course, the 1980 season, the 1-win Saints lost 14 in a row that year. I just don't have anything good to say except Kendre Miller for a millisecond looked good. Maybe if you want something positive, like here's your one thing, you do get to go play Carolina next week. So you have an opportunity to end the losing streak next week at Carolina. But the flip side of that is also true, where you could reach even newer lows if you go lose to Carolina. By the way, Carolina was getting the shit kicked out of them today by Denver. I don't know what the final score was or is, if it's gone final yet. Um, Let me see. Denver. Trying to find the final scores. 28-14. So Denver was a cover, by the way. Laid the 11 with the Broncos because you should, because Carolina stinks. But if there's a team that could challenge Carolina for futility, it's these New Orleans Saints. Um, yeah, what happened to Clint's offense? We can't seem to move the ball. Again, I know what happened to Clint Kubiak's offense against Denver. I mean, when you're down 7 offensive starters, nobody can withstand that. But you got a lot of those guys back today. And the fact that you weren't even competent offensively is that's when you can really start to look at Clint Kubiak and say, okay, is he actually what we thought he was the first 2 weeks? Because if you can fall apart so dramatically, I mean, going from averaging 40 a game to this, I think it's fair to say, well, one of those was against Carolina, which I don't know if you've paid attention to Carolina at all this year. If you haven't, I don't blame you. You really shouldn't. But the Carolina Panthers are allowing 35 points a game. This is the National Football League. This isn't, fucking Vanderbilt in the SEC. This is the National Football League, and they're allowing 35 a game, 34.7 to be exact. 47 to the Saints, 26 to the Chargers, 22 to the Raiders, their only win. 34 to the Bengals, 36 to the Bears, 38 to the Falcons, 40 to the Commanders, 28 today to the Broncos. So that's one of your wins. And then the other was Dallas, who they've been hot and cold, but Dallas has been terrible at home this year. I think it's fair to say, man, after today, the fact that you couldn't even find the end zone, all your offense could manage and muster in 4 quarters today was 2 field goals, is I mean, I mm, um 249 passing, 117 rushing for New Orleans on the day. Rattler 12 of 24 for 156. Kamara 10 for 67. Most of that was on the big long run where it was Bud Dupree who was trying to strip the ball from him. Stupid. And Alvin broke through free and ran it for 40 yards. So stupid. Like, what are you doing stripping the ball? Like, you got to get the guy on the ground. Trey Austin said another missed field goal. That was Gruby's first miss of the year. He hadn't missed a field goal yet this season. Missed a PAT, but hadn't missed a field goal yet this year. Justin say it's time to go for the high draft pick. Yeah, I mean, look, no team is going to tank, right? You're not going to go out there and try to lose. But, I mean, with every passing game, the insistence on thinking you're still playing for something gets more and more absurd. If you actually want to play this out, so like Atlanta did beat Tampa today. So like this is the thing. This is like my fear for how the Saints are going to look at this. So Atlanta beat Tampa today. So Atlanta at 5-3 now leads the division. Tampa's 4-4. You're 2-6. Next week you go to Carolina. If you win, you can get to 3-6. It's like right now you're 3 games behind Atlanta, and they have a tiebreaker, so really it's 4. But if you go win this week against Carolina, you get to 3-6, and then you get to play Atlanta. So if you win your next two, and maybe you have Carr back, you're at 4-6, and you can hang a loss on Atlanta and bring them one closer. So it's actually making up two games. So and then you get to play Cleveland, which my God, how about James? Wouldn't that be something if Jameis comes to the dome and just kicks the shit out of the Saints? How appropriate would that be? And then so like that's the stretch. Then you get the Rams at Giants, Commanders, at Packers, Raiders, at Bucks. So some tough ones down the stretch that you're probably not going to win. But what the Saints are probably thinking internally is, oh, go beat Carolina, and then you get Atlanta. And if you beat Atlanta, well, great. Now you pull them closer and you're in it. You get on a stretch run and finish strong like they've finished strong these past couple years. I'm telling you, that's what they're thinking. And it sucks because they're denying the reality staring them and you and me and everybody in the face, which is that your defense is old and not good. Your offensive line, which used to be the strength of the team, when you had, Nix and Evans on the interior, best guard tandem in the NFL. You built around, your tackles when you had Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk at tackles. Like, you're just not that anymore. And they've used draft capital and they've missed. Ruiz is a low-level starter in the NFL. McCoy's very good, but you've missed on Trevor Penning. I think Fuanga can be a good player. He's a rookie. Kamara's old. Carr's not good. Olave can't stay healthy. Rashid's hurt. And but by the way, I mean, you've got two receivers. After that, you're talking about Cedric Wilson, Equinemius St. Brown. We got a freaking Yale undrafted rookie free agent, like taking significant snaps for this team in the fourth quarter of games. Let me get the fuck out of here. I just don't know how. I mean, the problem at its core that this franchise has right now is the leadership of the franchise are operating without any fear of retribution. And I'm not saying that people should go to work fearful of losing their jobs, Like that sucks. But accountability has to be present. Dennis Allen, who's a defensive guy, has to be held accountable for his defense being the worst defense in the NFL. Mickey Loomis has to be held accountable for continuing to put together rosters and mismanaging the cap and putting yourself in the situation where you've lost 6 straight now for the first time since 2005. And I don't want to hear the bullshit about the injuries because everybody has injuries. The bottom line is you went from this historic offense, right, the first 2 weeks, to losing your center and going to dog shit. If you mean to tell me that you lose Eric McCoy, who's a great player, by the way, and you go or Taysom Hill, look half to half of the Atlanta game. Look at do you remember? Like, do y'all remember that fucking game? Look half to half of the Atlanta game. There, yeah. Now I got to think about this fucking game. Now I'm cursing. I mean, you're out there, moving the ball in the first half, and then you can't do shit in the second half after Taysom Hill got hurt. You lost that game despite not allowing a defensive touchdown. That's the point. Like, you can't lose. You lose a center and a gadget player, and the team goes to shit. And you mean to tell me like that's a stable organization? The fuck out of here. Like, Nelbert, I don't think Eric McCoy is the best center in the league. I think he's a very good player. But any team that if you lose your center and you go from literally scoring 40 to you can't fucking swing a dick, like, what are you talking about, man? They got me cursing. Anyway. I mean, he scored 13 against Kansas City. And Carr got hurt at the end of that game. Come on, man. The Saints are not the worst team in the league. The Carolina Panthers are the worst team in the league. But the Saints are right there with them. All right, do me a favor, y'all. Smash the like button if you would. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If it's your first time being here, thank you so much. You know what you could do? Give us a shout at Parish Construction and Roofing. That would be awesome. Parishbuilt.com. Free no obligation roofing inspections. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parishbuilt.com. Whoa. Last I saw, they were. So what, did the Bears take the lead? Are you freaking kidding me? I love Jaden Daniels so much. I mean, he's just, oh God, look at this. Losing by 3. Look at him right now. Are you kidding me? Oh. Oh. Knock it down, kids. Knock it down, kids. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Wow, that's amazing. All right. Matt, been a long time since Saints at 2-6. Um, Peyton's last year, they lost 5 in a row. The 5 came in November though. Because they were 5-2 and then lost 5 straight to go to 5-7. Yeah. Okay. I won't be happy till DA is gone. Get him any buy. This is how you show up. Sad. The one thing I'll say is, at least defensively, they played better. The 60-yard touchdown to McConkey's fucking just inexcusable. But they've gotten us to this point, y'all. They've beaten us down to this point where there's nothing worth being excited about for this team. When Carr got hurt, I was at least interested to see what you had in Rattler. The first 2 games with Rattler were, it's just a punt because all the injuries. But this was one where it was his 3rd game. You had 10 days, and you were getting everybody healthy. This is the one where I was hoping to see a little progress offensively, and instead you go out there and you put up 2 fucking field goals. I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you, y'all. I got nothing to be excited about for you. You got a good chance to go win at Carolina, but I don't even know that I would say it's a good chance. If you get Carr back, I think you had a good chance to win there. But, you know, Clint said fire sale. Clint, the problem with a fire sale here, which is what I always talk about, is who you going to trade? Who you going to trade? You just extended Alvin Kamara. I don't know that there's anybody that Who who has value that has a contract you can trade? Olave, maybe, but you got him on a rookie deal right now. Um, I don't know that there's a player. I mean, you got you got Chase Young on a 1-year deal, and you're halfway through the season, or you're 8 games through the season now, so you've paid almost half that contract for this year already. So, um, if there's a Detroit loses Aiden Hutchinson, you could trade Chase Young to Detroit, um, get a day 3 pick and maybe a 6. Um, but who else you gonna trade? Who has value? You gonna trade Alontae Taylor? What's someone gonna give you for Alontae Taylor? You wanna go fucking trade Trevor Penning? Yeah, who's gonna give you have to pay people to take Trevor Penning. McCoy, maybe? Let me look at McCoy's contract, because that's the other thing too. Like, he signed a 5-year, $60 million deal, which I'm certain they restructured, which they did. In 24, they restructured it. So now you have these escalating cap hits and dead cap hits as well. So, for example, Eric McCoy next year in 25 has a dead cap number of 16.3, then 10.9, then 5.5. So you want to get rid of Eric McCoy and keep that dead money on the books for what? A fifth, 6th round pick for what? You don't have, let's, everybody says fire sale. You don't have anybody, you don't have any assets to trade. You don't have anything anybody wants. You're a poverty franchise. Say it all the time, man. Like, it's, and Justin said Olave and Lattimore are the only options. Olave, but even Lattimore, like a team I think would only trade for Lattimore if they could extend him. Because even still right now, like, the Saints cap hit for Lattimore next year is 31.4. The dead number is 20.6. So you trade Marshawn Lattimore. Yes, you'll save $11 million against cap next year. You're still going to carry a $20 million dead cap number for Marshawn Lattimore. And whoever you trade him to, they have to be willing to take on that contract. What you going to sell? Like the Saints, imagine saying, man, imagine this. You look up one day and you got a shit pile of credit card debt. You're sitting on a shitload of debt, and you go, all right, let's get out of this debt. What can we sell? And you look around and you ain't got nothing to sell. Like, you live in a broken down home, you ain't paid your light bill, you know, you need a new roof, plumbing's all fucked up. Like, what do you can't even sell the house. You got nothing. So literally the only thing you can do is stop spending and make more money to pay off your debt, which means go. I appreciate the attempted levity. Like, there is no. Here's the thing. Like, there is no way. There is no easy way out of this. You have to fire. You have to fire Dennis Allen. You have to bring in a new coach, a new general manager, a whole new way about doing this. Because this general manager is proving his methodology is to continue to try to win now, which clearly you are not close. And if you keep on handing out bad contracts and missing in the draft and making poor talent evaluation and free agency, like, how in the hell I don't know. I just read that comment. I lost where I was going. I was trying to find that comment. Anyway, I lost it. I lost my place. I lost my train of thought because I looked at a comment. Anyway, like the only way, like someone saying this is at least a 5-year process. The only way to accelerate that is hitting on a young quarterback in the draft. And then you get a quarterback, a franchise quarterback on a day 2 or 3 rookie deal. That's your only way out of it, right? You do what Seattle did whenever they got Russ in round 3, Dallas getting Dak in round 4. Romo was a UDFA. Um, Cousins in Washington is a 5th rounder. Purdy in San Francisco. You know how San Francisco was able to overcome whiffing on Trey Lance and the money they spent on Jimmy G? You hit on a 7th rounder. Um, Clayton said, say DA gets fired, throw names as a replacement you'd like. Well, typically, whenever you fire a coach for something that doesn't work, you hire the opposite. So this is a retread defensive guy. I think you go young offensive guy. Ben Johnson's the name I think everyone's going to mention, and you should. I mean, he's the OC in Detroit. They're crushing it. He's of that same tree. The culture being there with Dan Campbell, I think would be awesome. The problem is, I think he's going to have so many better options. Like, there's going to be a team like Harbaugh going to the Chargers this year. You got your franchise quarterback, man. You know you got Justin Herbert. That was a good job. What do the Saints have? Busted ass Derek Carr at 35, 34, 35 years old with a team full of an old defense with a bunch of bad contracts, an offensive line that can't block, a small receiver that can't stay healthy, a 30-year-old running back that you just extended. Like, the fuck wants that job? Someone will take it because it's the NFL. There's only 32 of them. But like, for the guys that are going to have options, they ain't picking New Orleans. I mean, someone will take the job. Make no mistake. I mean, it's an NFL head coaching job. Sean Payton took the job back in 05 when the city was underwater. Like, someone will take the job. But if you're trying to, like, Harbaugh was the prize that everybody wanted. I mean, he went to LA. It made a lot of sense. Lives in LA. Had a top pick where he could go get Joe Alt. He had his quarterback in place. Like, that was an easy one. New Orleans ain't easy. Anyway. Please smash the like button. Over 500 people watching. That's awesome. Please smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like the page, share the post. Appreciate y'all for being there. Remind you again about Parrish. Drop Parrish in there, man. You know, while I'm at it, let me do this too. Need a roof. Love it if you let us give you a free, no obligation inspection. Parrishbuilt.com. Parrishbuilt.com. Service all of Louisiana, commercial, residential. Parrishbuilt.com. Parrishbuilt.com. And check out the merch store we did. 929 Misfits. 929 Misfits. That's cool. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw LouisianaSports.net in the chat as well. If you haven't checked out LouisianaSports.net, I greatly appreciate it. For all your Saints coverage, Ross Jackson does an awesome job. Hunt's got us covered with LSU. Chris Marler covering SEC and a lot of other stuff. Very proud of what we've done. So, check it out. I appreciate it. See, Michael Summer, some people have said this. You're not going to fire the head coach and promote someone from his staff, from a failed staff. I know there's been instances. Look, Antonio Pierce in Las Vegas is a great example. Um, where um, an interim got the head, the permanent job. I just think that's an outlier. That's atypical. Um, apathy said apathy said it's going to be Aaron Glenn. Look, I think Aaron Glenn has a lot of great traits, and I think trying to pull some of that culture from Detroit would be really cool. And obviously, he knows New Orleans. I don't know that I want to see another defensive coach. I think I want to see in this NFL look at the teams that win uh, at the highest level. You're talking about offensive minded guys, and it's a copycat league. And I think you got to go find that person. My concern is they're going to just run it back with Dennis Allen because they're all friends and nobody's accountable to anybody. Ultimately, you see, like David said, Bill Belichick will be looking for a team. Like, why would Bill Belichick? Like, Bill Belichick's 73 years old. How old's Bill Belichick? Bill Belichick is 72 years old. He'll be 70. So he's turned 72 in April. Bill Belichick's not going to New Orleans, man. He's 72. If he gets back into coaching, it's going to be to go to a spot where they got something in place where they feel like they can win. It'll be like Dallas, where you've got Dak, the Jets, if he wants to go pair with Aaron Rodgers, even though that's a dumpster fire. That's the type of thing he's going to look at. Let's say Cincinnati fires Zach Taylor. Boom. Belichick in Cincinnati with Burrow to try to go win one. I mean, that's the kind of thing they'd be looking at. Not the Saints. Anyway. All right, y'all. Let's go watch Sunday Night Football. Who y'all got Sunday Night Football? One of the guys on Jimmy Out's Football Sunday, Andy Iskoe, who Andy does a great job. I think Andy had San Francisco in this game tonight. Despite their struggles, I think he was on San Fran tonight. Make sure I have that right. Was it San Fran or was he on Dallas? I can't. It was. He had San Fran laying the 5.5. Let's get on it. I'm in. San Fran 5.5. See if they can get on track tonight. All right. Let me get one more. Michael, we were so happy when Pete Carmichael left. You know what, man? And at the beginning of the season, the first 2 weeks, you were creative offensively, you were healthy, and it looked like the right thing. Injuries derailed you offensively. I'm going to say it again. Like, I'll go to where we started for those maybe you were just here. I'll finish with where we started. Like, I understand the offensive struggles the last 3 weeks. Like, you don't lose 7 starters on offense and not miss a beat. My real concern is what giving up 51 to Tampa, back-to-back weeks of 200 rushing yards. Like, your defense is the worst defense in the NFL. You got a defensive-minded head coach. That was my problem. Today, I was hopeful, not confident, but hopeful with getting Olave back and getting Taysom back and getting Ruiz back and getting Lucas Patrick back, being a little more whole, that you'd see the offense come back to life a little bit and maybe see something to be optimistic about with Spencer Rattler, and that didn't happen. So I got nothing now, man. Your defense is old and not good and uninspired. Your offense stinks. And you're 2-6. There's just no reason to think you're going to get out of this to anything. Like eventually you're going to get Derek Carr back and you're going to win some games. Like you're not going to go 2-15. Um, like if Carr comes back next week, I think you can beat Carolina, obviously, if you have Carr back. If you don't have Carr, I mean, all bets are off. I mean, I think we've just seen it right now. I mean, there's no reason to have any confidence whatsoever in your offense. But Atlanta at home will be tough. Cleveland. Before Jameis today, you had him beat the Ravens. I told you Cleveland's a game you could win in the Dome. I think it'd be tough to beat the Rams. I think you could win at the Giants. Washington's won at the beginning of the season at home. We probably circled and said you could win that one, but they look really good. At Green Bay, you ain't winning that. You can beat the Raiders at home. I don't think you're winning at Tampa. So, I mean, I could say maybe there's 2 or 3 more wins out there. My prediction for the season was 6-11. Maybe it's 5. Just a bummer. Corey said Shadur Sanders. I mean, Corey, I don't care if it's Shadur. I don't care who it is, man. You pick near the top of this draft, you got to go get a quarterback. All right, this is the last one. Virgil, team is defeated mentally. If we're being honest, doesn't look like Dennis Allen wants to be on the sideline anymore when teams get to the point the coach has to go. I thought that last week, man. Look, last week, you can say whatever they want. They quit against Denver. They quit. They quit against Denver. They didn't want to tackle. They didn't want to be there. The defense quit. And that would have been the time to do it with 10 days before this game. But you stuck with it. You had 10 days. You got healthier. You went out there and you put 2 field goals on the board. I think at this point, your bye isn't until after Cleveland. You play Carolina, Atlanta, Cleveland. If you lose to Carolina this week, I think you got to do it this week. Or next week after Carolina. There's no justification for that whatsoever. Man. But if you lose to Carolina, come home against Atlanta, which is leading the division, Cleveland, which looks better with Jameis, and they got a good defense. I mean, they were the best defense in the NFL last year. And you go into your bye, I mean, it's you look and say, where's the win? If you don't get it this week, it's where's the win? I don't know. All right, let's get out of here. Let's go watch Sunday Night Football. Have a good rest of the night. Thanks for being there. Hey, for all you who love LSU, please go check out Locked on LSU. Did my game recap, so that's up. Podcast, YouTube, Locked on LSU. I'd appreciate it. Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. All right, y'all. Who dat? Going to get better before it gets worse, but another day will be better than today. See y'all.